how Head came to be.
How Head came to be.
This is our producer, Rachel. This is great.
Sure.
And we're talking about the one you're carrying around.
Yeah.
I always carry Head around because they don't have any arms or legs, so they can't get anywhere without me. So, which is great because they can't leave me. At the time that Head came to be, I was in WWF, and I was very frustrated. Had a bad attitude, which was totally because I had the wrong outlook, quite honestly. And I tried to quit WWF at that time because I knew that if I stayed where I was, that I would always be where I was. And I knew that I had to go somewhere else to reinvent myself and within the wrestling business get over, sell myself back literally to Vince and to Paul, to get Paul to pay to keep me, or Eric Bischoff to pay to take me, and to make myself an attraction, which I was unable to do in WWF. And the reason I was unable to do it was because I floundered, because I didn't have a definitive personality. I didn't have a definitive persona, per se. No matter whether and I'm sure Kasim and Butterbean will attest to this, and, Mike as well. And that is that people don't pay to see what you can do. They pay to see who you are and why you're doing it. And I was taught that, when I first broke in, and I kind of lost touch with that. And, when I came to WWF, they, tried a couple things, a couple different characters, which characters never work. They just because it's character, people can tell it's not who you really are. And I had a bad attitude because I pointed the finger at everyone else other than the person that really mattered, which was the one person I could control, which was me. And I tried to quit, and they rolled over my contract. And unbeknownst to me, Paul was working with Vince, Paul Heyman. And, I went to Chris Candido. God bless Chris Candido. I mean, what an incredible, unrecognized, unappreciated talent. And what an incredible human being Chris Candido was. I mean, he just... when you were on a show or you were on anything, and if Chris showed up, you were like, this is going to be great. It's going to be great. I'm sure you guys know a guy like that the minute he walks in the room, you're like, it's going to be awesome. We're going to have fun. It's going to be, no matter what it is, it could be a complete shit show. You know what I mean? But the minute this one guy walks in, it is what it is, And Chris went to Paul, and Paul went to Bruce Pritchard, who was involved with talent relations at the time. And they put me on loan. They didn't let me off the contract, but they put me on loan to ECW. And, Paul had no plans for me and no intentions for me. He did this as a favor to Chris, and I knew I had to do something and create something that got over. And, I tried different ways to show that I'd had a nervous breakdown, that I had a mental break. And the reason I did that was because I had done some things in WWF with the character that I'd had there. and the reason I did that was, I figured anybody that was as happy-go-lucky as I was would be mentally unstable. And I figured, with the ECW crowd, they had followed me throughout my career, because at this point in time, I'd been in business probably 15, 16 years, and I figured they would know anybody had been doing that long, they'd have some frustration. So I was trying to show that I had finally mentally snapped. And I tried a bunch of different things, and they never quite got over, never quite connected. And I read a book on abnormal psychology, where I had a case study. There was a case study in there about a woman who had schizophrenia, and she had what they call transference disorder, meaning the inanimate objects that she heard the voices from, she assumed were crazy, not her. She believed in her mind that the inanimate objects that she heard the voices from were crazy. So I found a styrofoam head in the back of ECW Arena, because I had just gotten done with a match with a guy by the name of Great Sasuke that was from Japan. And the Japanese photographers were taking pictures, and I found a white styrofoam head that had a bunch of paint on it, because the old ECW Arena, half of the arena they used to make the Mummers Day parade floats in Philadelphia. And I found that head, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to carry this to the ring. I'm going to talk to it, treat it as if it's a real person, and act like it's crazy, not me. And for a long time, Paul used to come up to me and he would say, "Oh, I hate your manager. I hate your manager. I hate your manager," but he never told me not to do it. And that's the one thing, like, everybody's like, "Oh, the genius of Paul Heyman." The genius of Paul Heyman is that Paul Heyman allowed the talent to be the talent. And I think Mike can attest to this, is that he allowed you to be who you were, and to develop and create who you were, and to allow it to connect with the audience. And over time, because it was who I really was, I really spoke through the head. I voiced all of my sarcastic comments and quite honestly condescending, comments. I did through the head, and as a result, the audience knew it was real. And what I tell everyone all the time, and I'm sure Kasim and I'm sure Butterbean, you can attest to this. Mike, I'm sure you can attest to this as well. If people can believe in who you are, then they'll believe in anything you do. And I'm a prime example of that. To this day, and I've made an enormous amount of money, but based on one thing: people believing that I could knock another human being unconscious with a plastic head, and I can't. I mean, I can't even knock a toddler out, and I've tried. I mean, they fall down on the floor and they cry, and their parents, it gets weird because their parents are like, "Oh, I'm going to call the cops." And you're like, look, your kids should fucking sell. You know what I mean? Put it over. But he's rolling around on the floor. He's not acting like he's unconscious. He's crying. Put it over, guys. Come on, sell. They're like, "I'm going to call the cops." And you're like, well, you should call the cops on your kid, because your kid's not putting over the gimmick.
Yeah. You can't this.
Tommy Rich got blood for the head, and your kid will get right back up and run to you. I mean, come on.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please help me out and like this video, then click the subscribe and get notifications buttons so you don't miss any of my latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news updates. Follow us on Facebook at the Hannibal TV for more live streams and videos. And while you're at it, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the Hannibal TV.